Hi, Jason here from spiritualbabies.net. You can find us at www.spiritualbabies.net. Doing a very quick how-to video on how to do a Bible study. So this isn't a definitive video, but it's certainly how I get started when I'm looking for more information about a particular verse. And if I've heard an argument or a story relating to a verse that I haven't heard before, maybe one that I just want to back up my own sources, or perhaps I read something online which discredits what I already think, and so I want to go and check if it's true. This is how I do it. So today we're going to have a little look at Isaiah, one verse, Isaiah 53:9. It's one which is often kind of carried over and ignored. Isaiah obviously is a very important verse to some faith groups, and one which can be misread or mistranslated or misunderstood. And although this isn't a study on Isaiah, I figured that'd be a great place to start today. So, Isaiah 53:9, what does it say? We're going to start off by having a look. One great thing about the internet is that we have tons and tons and tons and tons of reference material. It's all in one place, and we can Google search it. There are several really fantastic study resources online. So rather than having to listen to a podcast that gives us someone's opinion or someone else's Bible study, which is only going to give us a picture of what they believe in already, let's have a little look and do something on our own. One great site is Blue Letter Bible. So we're going to go there now, and it's just a matter of banging blueletterbible.org into your address bar, and you should come up with a page that looks something like this. So we are here, blueletterbible.org, all one word. So if you're typing it in, blueletterbible, no spaces, .org, and you'll come up with this page. And what this is a King James based, although it has lots of other different translations. So if I click on here, you can see there's plenty here. You've got the New King James and the nearly inspired version, as Keith Johnson often says, and the Young's Literal Translation, but we're going to stick with the King James for now. We can type in any verse, but we're going to do Isaiah 53, and you can see I've been here already today, 53:9, and we're going to click this little blue button, and that will take us through to the verse. So we can see here that according to the Blue Letter Bible, 53:9 in Isaiah says, "And he made his grave with the wicked and with the rich in his death, because he had done no violence, neither was any deceit in his mouth." It's worth remembering that anything in a square bracket isn't in the original text. It was added by the scribes or the translators or the person that built the Bible to turn the sentence, if you're looking at it in a very positive and optimistic way, to turn the sentence into something that's easy to read. If you want to look at it kind of more negatively, to turn the sentence into perhaps something that follows their doctrine or belief. So let's have a little look at another source for this verse. We're going to go to Chabad, which I'm probably pronouncing very badly, but it's a Jewish site which has a Tanakh on it, which is fantastic. So we're going to go there now. So here we are at Chabad.org. That's CHABAD.org, and you can do a Google search for Chabad and leave a space and type in Tanakh, and it will give you a direct link, and I'll put the links under the videos anyway, but it'll give you a direct link to this page, which has a kind of online Tanakh, which is very good, and if you want to, you can read the commentary by Rashi as well. So we're going to go and find our verse. We're going to first of all tell the engine we want to look at the prophets. Find Isaiah, chapter 53, so we're going to scroll down until we get to 53. And hit go. And through the wonders of modern technology, it's going to deliver us the right verse. And we're looking for 53:9, so we're going to scroll down. And here we are. So, their version of this, from their translation, says, "And he gave his grave to the wicked, and he gave his grave to the wicked, and to the wealthy with his kinds of death, because he committed no violence, and there was no deceit in his mouth." So does that sound like the Blue Letter Bible version to you? What does it say in your Bible? Pull it out and check. If you have more than one, pull them all out and have a little check. Let's compare that to the Blue Letter Bible version. So comparing the two, there's one marked difference. The Blue Letter Bible version says, "And he made his grave with the wicked and with the rich in his death." There's a semicolon there which breaks off that sentence, because he had done no violence, and neither was any deceit in his mouth. So this wants to tell us that he made his grave with the wicked and with the rich in his death, which may purport to certain beliefs regarding to who Isaiah 53 is supposed to represent. He made his grave with the wicked and with the rich in his death. But let's go back and see what the Jewish version is. So we've gone from he made his grave with to he gave his grave to the wicked and to the wealthy with his kinds of death, because he committed no violence and there was no deceit in his mouth. So we've got the, if you like, the Christian side telling us that he made his grave with the wicked and the wealthy, and from the wealthy. But in the Jewish side we have he gave his grave to the wicked and to the wealthy. But which one's right? Let's find out. Often at this point people get a bit worried. They don't. They worry they won't be able to understand the Hebrew. Luckily, the internet is here to help, and you could go straight to Google Translate and copy and paste the text. But sometimes there are more gentle ways. Google Translate's fantastic on modern languages, but sometimes with something like Biblical Hebrew, the connotations and indentations of the words today don't necessarily reflect what they were at the time they were written, or even what they were 1,000 years ago. So oftentimes it's better to do this in a slightly more long-winded way, but really it's just a couple of minutes and we should have this put to bed and we'll find out what they actually mean. So we're going to go to a site called Byblos. It's also online at byblescc.com. So you can type either of those in, and what you will get is a list of sites, which are all really one site, but there's a mobile site that's come out of this, which is called Byblos, and they eventually put Byblos online as well, so now they've got two sites that look very similar, but either will do, byblos.com or bible.cc. So we're going to click on bible.cc, and this is what you will find. Now on the top left hand corner there is a search box. It's very easy to use. You just drop down and click on the book you're looking for. We're going to Isaiah. It auto updates, so give it a few seconds between each request. 53, and let it update again. And 9. And bingo! So we will have a ton of translations here, and we'll have a look here. The King James obviously said one thing, the Tanakh, the Jewish Press Tanakh, said another thing, but here we have a few different translations from Christian Bibles, and let's check some of those out. The New International Version says he was assigned a grave with the wicked. The New Living One said he had done no wrong and never deceived anyone, but was buried like a criminal and was put in a rich man's grave, which I think to anyone's measure is definitely reading into the text. English Standard Version, and they made his grave with the wicked and with a rich man in his death, which again, possibly reading into it. The Holman Christian Standard says, and they made his grave with the wicked and with a rich man at his death, although he had done no violence and had spoken deceitfully. Okay, all interesting translations, but what's the real translation? What's the Hebrew, and how do we make that work? So if we scroll up the page just a little bit, we'll see a nice series of, you can see them here, series of buttons, and one of them says Hebrew, so we're going to click on that. And what this does is it breaks down the words, gives us the Hebrew for each word, the transliteration for each word, and then the Strongs for each word. So although you might not have any Hebrew, you can check, just with a paper and pen, you can check what the Hebrew is for each word and kind of build your own sentence. And even without clicking anything, if anything that's blue on this site has some information attached to it and there's also a link. So supposing we have a look at was assigned, because really we've got one set of documents which is telling us he was assigned a grave with the wicked, and we've another set of documents that is telling us that he was given, that he gave his grave to the wicked. So let's find out what the Hebrew means in this particular translation. And we can do that by hovering over the transliteration, which says in rightfulness there, it says, to be fair, it says was assigned, and it occurs 160, its occurrence 167 of 177 times in the Bible, and we're going to have a look in a minute at some of those other ones, because that's one way of double checking our sources. And if we go to the Strongs for that word, it says to give. Isn't that interesting? The transliteration, to go with the translation of the Bible, says was assigned, and in here we have to give. Which is right. Did he, is this talking about the person assigning the grave, or being assigned the grave? Well, let's have a look at other instances that this word has been used. If we click on the transliteration, we will be shown some other areas where this was used. Genesis 1:17, God placed them in the expanse. In 14:20, in your hand, he gave him a tenth. In 15:10, them into and laid each and gave. So I'm scrolling down here and we're going to look at all the different instances. And placed and gave and gave and gave and he gave and he has given and he has given and gave and gave. So there's plenty of instances there where it's gave. So we're going to bounce back here, and I think at this point it's fair to ask yourself, was this word, this option was assigned a fair translation, or is the Hebrew and he gave his grave, sorry, not the Hebrew, the Jewish Tanakh version, a fairer translation? So I'm not going to give you any answers on that. That's completely something that you can make up your own mind with. If you, to be fair, if you look at the use of that word in other verses, there are less used options which can mean to provide. But I think you find that most times that when that word is used, it's about a person doing or giving a thing to somebody else, and that person being the kind of the hero in the piece, if you like, the main character. So you could argue that the traditional run-of-the-mill Bible version is a fair one, but that's only in Christian Bibles. If you pick up a Hebrew Bible, you're going to find that the Chabad version is the given version. So I hope you found this helpful. I will post the sites that we've used underneath the video. And if you have any questions or want any further help, please leave a comment. And maybe I'll do this again for a few other key verses that are translated one way in one set of Holy Scriptures and another way in a different set of Scriptures, and it might be a fun exercise to play a little bit of scriptural tug of war. So thanks very much for watching, thanks very much for listening, and if you have any feedback, I'd be grateful to hear it. So shalom, and come and visit us at spiritualbabies.net.